No audio.
Maybe. All right.
There you are.
How did that work? Does that work better?
Yes.
Okay, welcome into Pillow. I'm guessing everything I just said there was for nothing. It's okay. It wasn't really brilliant. It was just kind of me flapping my gums, talking about how I'm distracted by Don Lemon and how I don't like Don Lemon. But welcome into Pillow Talk. We do this every night at 10 o'clock. 2 shows daily. That's what we do around here. One show at 10 o'clock. We call that Pillow Talk. Goes to about midnight. Then we rally back in 12 hours and we do high noon. That's at noon till 2. The noon show, a bit more topic driven, a bit more informative. Although, let's be honest, this show here, the one that we do at night, is a little bit more loose, a little bit more fun, a little bit more, whatever. Not quite. We don't really. I'm not going to say we don't put as much into it because we certainly do. It's just not as structured, shall we say, as the topic-driven, trend-driven noon show. So join us for both. Well, you're here now, so I guess join us for the other one. Hey, here's my problem, and you look at. Look at those. Those are like Elvis sunglasses. Those are like.
They are.
I like them. They're like something Bono would have worn on the Zoo tour back in the 90s. Are you as ridiculously distracted by this football game as I am?
Yeah, it like started out as a dud and it's kind of turned into a barn burner.
It's compelling as hell. It was 14-0 at halftime, and now it's 21-21.
Right.
I mean, these are two absolute garbage teams. I mean, one of these teams, even my garbage Bears figured out how to beat. So I have no interest at all in the welfare of the Cincinnati Bengals or the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I don't really care much that, it's being billed as the battle of the number ones. Last year's number one overall in Joe Burrow with the Cincinnati Bengals, and this year's number one, Trevor Lawrence in the Jacksonville Jaguars. But somehow it's like I wanted to go late today so I could see how this game ends. I was seriously. And then just before we go on, Burrows leads him on the game tying drive. And
now they're at Jacksonville's at the 50 and they're going back the other direction.
Do you think
first team to get a stop probably will win?
The 0-3 Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the 1-2 Cincinnati Bengals.
No, 2-1.
Cincinnati is 2-1?
Yeah, they beat Pittsburgh last week.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I just assumed they were. I didn't think they were any good. All right, that's fine. 2-1. Look at that. There we go. See, I mean, I'd love to do a show here, but honestly, I'm really interested in how this game ends up. So,
well, I'll give you the score.
Yeah, I'll turn this off. I don't need to be distracted here. Let's. Trevor Lawrence, however, like, there's just so much about this kid that I dislike. Just looking at him, I don't like the whole Greek Adonis thing with the flowing hair, and I don't like that he's
6'6".
Yeah, I don't like that he's like he seems to have been given every gift that God had in his bag of tricks when he was born.
He seems a little frail to me. Like frail? When you look at him, he seems like he's a little frail.
Man,
even though he's 6'6", he's not a overpowering wide body.
See, I was just going to say the opposite. I was going to say, despite all of those things that I dislike about him, damn, doesn't he just looks like the prototypical NFL quarterback. He looks good in that uniform. Well, maybe not necessarily the Jacksonville Jaguar uniform, but I mean, he looks like he was built and designed to be a quarterback. I don't really see the frailty there.
Well, like when I see Big Ben or when I see Josh Allen, their frame to me seems to be a little bit more stocky.
Well, yeah, but they're anomalies. They're big quarterback. They're big for the quarterback position.
Yeah, but I'm like
Big Ben.
I mean, he looks to me more like a Randall Cunningham.
Yeah.
Kind of more a little bit more slim. Even like McNair was kind of big and stocky. Warren Moon seemed like he was a little more stocky.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who else was a big quarterback? I'm trying to think of who else.
Like, I just don't know if that body is going to be able to take the pounding the way like Big Ben can. Those guys kind of ran into the line.
Well, you know who was a great example of a very big quarterback who could not take a pounding? Dante Culpepper. Dante Culpepper was a big dude, but he was always hurt. His career was cut short because he was always. When he had Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback too? Wasn't that where Culpepper?
Culpepper.
Cam Newton was a big quarterback, right?
Tampa Bay, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember.
See, I'm still watching this damn game. Yeah, suddenly, big story was breaking today out of Chicago on Chicago Sports Media. I am now going to have to become, hi, Steve. Steve always checks it and says, evening all. Hi, Steve. That was a pass to nobody. I am now becoming a Jacksonville Jaguar fan because there is a chance the Jacksonville Jaguars may move to Chicago and occupy the soon-to-be vacated Soldier Field.
Who said that?
Jacksonville's probably leaving Jacksonville because they can't get a new stadium and they don't like all the crap that's going there. And Chicago's going to have Soldier Field available, and the mayor of Chicago was on a sports radio station today. She didn't say Jacksonville. That was just what the other sports writers and stuff speculated as. But she said that, yes, they've already spoken to the league office and that they are, they're talking about it. They're going to have a world-class facility in the heart of downtown Chicago, and Chicago, like Los Angeles and the New York metro area, is large enough that it could support two teams, and it had two teams until the mid-1960s.
So you got two baseball teams.
Yeah, and both teams do well. Let's bring in James Parker. Hey, James.
Wow.
All righty. James, are you also being hypnotized by this game?
Well, what's on?
The answer to that is no.
Oh, is this the first round picks? Is this Burrow and Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was watching this. I'm just a little preoccupied.
It's oddly compelling. It was 14-0 at halftime. Joe Burrow looked like trash. And then here we are now with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it's 21-21, and both guys are marching up and down the field.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's better right now? Which one, if you had to choose one?
It's 21-21, man. I don't know.
If I'm choosing at this point, I'm betting on Cincinnati only because it seems like they have more second half momentum.
And isn't this game in Cincinnati?
It is.
Yeah. Do you guys think it's weird that the Cincinnati Bengals play at Paul Brown Stadium, a stadium named after the same man that the Cleveland Browns are named after?
I do.
But aren't they owned by a Brown?
Yeah. Well, when Paul Brown, who ran the Cleveland Browns and named them after himself, he I guess got ran out of town or something, and he just moved down to Cincinnati and started another team called the Bengals. So yeah, and I think maybe like his son or something. They're still in. That might be it. Maybe they.
All right. So what's the scandal that he got ran out of town and had to start a new football franchise? What did he do? Did he slap the ice cream man, or did he have an affair? What did he do?
Oh, come on! Back in the 50s, those were encouraged. Those were not things that would get you run out of town.
Well, I don't know.
He got ran like Art Modell got ran out of town.
Why did Paul Brown leave Cleveland?
I feel like I need to know this now.
Yeah. Well, hey, you brought it up. His teams won 7 league championships in a professional coaching career spanning 25 years. Brown coached the Browns to 3 NFL championships and 55, but was fired. He was fired in 1963 amid a power struggle with new team majority owner Art Modell. So apparently, so
Modell goes that far back, huh?
Yeah, and then Modell got ran out of town.
Yeah. Oh. All right. So I guess. All right. Now you got me interested in what's going on with Paul Brown, one of the great legacy men of the NFL.
He's got to be in his 90s.
Cincinnati, they must have been. They were like an AFC team, right? I mean, they are. I know they are now, but like back in the expansion, like they were probably an expansion team.
They're an AFL team, yeah.
I would imagine that.
Brown called his new franchise. Here we go. Brown explored coaching. In exile after more than 30 years of coaching, Brown spent the next 5 years away from the sidelines, never once attending a Browns contest. While he was secure financially, Brown's frustration grew with each passing year. It was terrible, he later recalled. I had everything a man could want: leisure, enough money, a wonderful family. Yet with all that, I was eating my heart out. Because Brown was still receiving his annual salary and liked to play golf, it was said that the only 2 people who made more money playing golf were Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus. Brown explored coaching possibilities, but he was mindful not to put himself in a position where his control might be challenged as it had been in Cleveland. In the mid-1960s, the American Football League, which had formed to compete against the NFL, put a new franchise in Cincinnati. Brown was the third largest investor in the team and was given the title of coach and general manager. So there you go. That's how he ended up in Cincinnati.
And he still maintains ownership today, right?
Well, let's see. Well, let's see. Let's find out.
I know there is a Brown that owns. We'll
click on Cincinnati Bengals. Play in Paul Brown Stadium. See who the owner is. The mascot is a Bengal tiger named Houday. Mike Brown. Yeah, the owner is Mike Brown, and that's the son of Paul.
Wow.
Paul Brown.
Paul, Cleveland Brown. Hi, James. James. Folks, here I want to do this first.
You know what I want to do?
Huh?
We did this a little bit earlier in the day today.
Okay.
But I think we should start out the night since everybody is joining us.
Okay.
Share the show. Like, get on if you're on Facebook right now.
Yeah.
Do us a favor.
Yeah.
Post the show while you're live.
It is absolutely
watching
the least,
and that'll get out to other people that are on your Facebook page.
That is a fantastic suggestion. If you are listening on Facebook right now, although look at this room, is there once again a problem with Facebook? Because the chat room looks to be all YouTube at the moment.
No, there are people watching on Facebook. I just got a text.
But then again, you don't, just because you can be watching on Facebook and not participating in the chat.
In the chat room. If you are in the Facebook watch, why don't you just give us a little hello in the chat room?
That would be of great help. We appreciate that. There you, Tina.
There we go. I'm on Facebook.
Tina's on Facebook. Here. And by the way, folks, that's something that you can absolutely do to help grow the show. We need people to share it. There's a bunch of people on Twitter that are really great about it. Every night, about 10 minutes before 10 o'clock, I put something on Twitter and I put something on Facebook, and I always get before 10 o'clock, I always get 5 or 6 shares, retweets on Twitter. And I haven't checked Facebook because I'm not on Facebook as much as I am. But I know for a fact that the Twitter people are helping out. And you know who really helps out? Sarah Soufran. I think I'm saying that right. She is the girl that hosts this really great cannabis show on the Radio Misfits Network. Every single time, this girl, also Radio Dallas, they share it all the time. But Sarah, man, thank you so much. She is awesome. Every time I'm like, oh, who's sharing it? And boom, there it is. She's always the first one. Like she's waiting on it. It's very cool.
So JJ Watts just shared the show.
JJ, okay, very good. Appreciate that.
My buddy Robert.
Here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this just to start out. I have a new thing. I want to get everybody in a good mood. My whole vibe these days is trying to spread joy and optimism and stay happy because, as many of you know, I am very, very serious manic depressive. And I have to circumvent certain spirals that I may find myself in from time to time by artificially bringing joy to the world. So here, I wanted to show you this. We showed you this earlier today. How great is this? All right. I don't think James saw Jaden.
James, did you see this earlier?
This is
awesome. It is, I haven't seen it.
This is awesome.
This is so good. Okay, so this is Jaden. This is earlier. I got a new one, though, too. This is Jaden. I hope you enjoy him. Can you see Jaden there?
Yes.
Okay. Look at Jaden. Let's watch what Jaden gets into. Jaden is learning math, and his parents are videotaping him learning math. Let's see what Jaden's getting into.
Jaden has $1 bill, 1 quarter, and 2 pennies. How much money does he have? Jaden broke. Jaden has $1 bill, 1 quarter, and 2 pennies. How much money does he have? Jaden broke.
That kid is ready for stand-up. I'm telling you.
1 quarter and 2 pennies. How much money does he have? Jaden broke.
Jaden's awesome. What, James? What, you're unmoved by that?
Well, I'm just concerned Jaden might see this and see a whole room full of people laughing at him for being broke, and he didn't do anything wrong. Jaden was just born on the wrong side of the tracks, minding its own business. Man, we got this kid just punking on him, just totally burning him in front of God and everybody for millions of views. I'm just feeling sorry for Jaden. My empathy is.
I think the kid telling the joke is Jaden. I think that's the math project. Like you have, that's what I assumed. Like
no, I think there is a Jaden.
It's just not
him. Okay. I still think it's funny.
Jaden broke.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden made it to the textbook. So how bad can we feel for him?
Jaden's a shit. Okay, so that was from earlier today. That was our feel good from earlier today.
That was cute.
But here's a new one. Here's a new one. I love this one so much. Okay. So this is a kid learning his numbers in school. And I'm telling you, man, if you are blessed to have a best friend who encourages you, if you are blessed to have someone at your side who's always there rooting you on and supporting you, you are a blessed individual. And this little dude right here, he's got the single greatest hype man in the world. Let's watch this. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So can you see the, now you can see it, right? You can see the kid wearing the amazing baby blue t-shirt right there.
Got him.
It's Sharon. He's holding up a card. Okay. Confirmed. Now you're going to need to look at this dude, this little dude over here on this side. This dude's got his back on absolutely everyone. Let's watch this. We can all use a hype man like this.
Show us number 5, King. Where's number 5? Show us 5. Where's 5? Hold it up. All right. Clap for King.
What's up?
Clap for King. All right. King, show us number 1. All right, clap for King. Clap for
That's my
boy. King, show us number 2. Number 2, King. All right, clap for King. All right. Show us number 5, King. Where's number 5? Show us 5. Where's 5? Hold it up. All right, clap for King.
I just love that kid. How great is that little buddy? He's like, what's up? What's up?
He's happier than the kid who actually got it right.
Well, you know. Okay, I hope that put you all in a good mood. Yeah, it is. That's absolutely.
I need to raise my game to be your boy. Like I gotta get more enthusiastic.
No, you're giving me a house to live in. You're fine.
No, still. He even did the flex for him when he hit the number 2.
I liked how okay. So he wasn't just like, yeah, man, good job. I mean, he was like challenging the outside world to bring it, that his boy had it covered, you know.
He had 3 different numbers and he had 3 different responses.
What's up?
My boy.
Guys, kids are so cute.
All right. So here we are in the 4th quarter, 4 seconds left, 21 all, and the Bengals are about to kick a field goal.
Hold on.
Put it on the screen.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, no, we can't do that.
Yeah. Sure.
We'll get real copyrighted.
We'll never.
We've only get about 3 a show right now. That'll be through the roof if we do that.
Bunch of babies.
Just as I said that, Sarah Surfar from Radio Misfit, she has the show. What show does she have? She retweeted us again. She's so great. And there it is right on her page. I can't remember the name of her show. It's a cannabis show. Just go to Radio Misfits, and it's the only cannabis show that's on there. But she's awesome. That's so nice of her.
All right. They're lining up for the field goal.
Okay.
It's roughly 35 yards.
Who's kicking?
Cincy.
Oh.
Ball's down. Kick is up, and it is good. 35-yard attempt. I don't see any flags. Cincy takes the lead 24-21. No time left. Game over.
Burrow beats Lawrence again.
Okay. So, like I said, I didn't really have a horse in this race. I didn't really care either way. But, man, that is the outcome that I wanted. And I'm going to tell you why. I hate Urban Meyer. I hate that guy. And the very idea, do you know that Urban Meyer only twice in 25 years of his coaching career, he has only lost 4 games twice in his career, in 2007 in Florida and 2010 in Florida. Only time he's, and now in the NFL, he is winless and has lost his first 4 straight.
So you're taking satisfaction in that. For the betting public, if you are out there tonight, because you always tell me you don't know much about betting, if you bet on Jacksonville, you're a winner tonight because you got the 7.5 points. And so since you only won by 3, and if you bet on the under, you're a winner tonight. The total was 46. So for those that
hey, look at James' picture when he goes, oh, you just went, James, go dark again. Let me see. Look at James' picture. Doesn't he look like a Colombian cartel guy? Like he looks.
It is an interesting do with those glasses.
Yeah. All right, James, come back. Come back, James.
Yeah, so that picture's from a Snapchat filter. It puts the sunglasses on you and the flames to the side of you, and the flames are reflecting off of my fake aviator shades there.
You look like a character from Narcos.
Good. Yeah, it's kind of what I was going for. I'll take it.
Hey, do you watch Narcos?
I've seen all of them. I saw all 3 of the original Narcos and what was it, 2 seasons in Mexico?
Mexico, yeah. I was going through Netflix earlier tonight just to see what's happening and what's coming. And there's a new season of Narcos coming. It's right around the corner. I'm very excited.
Saying that, I'll watch it when it comes out. Big fan, and it's the same effect that like Braveheart has, where it's a cool story and it's well acted and it's well written and the scenes are great and the costumes are great or whatever, but it really happened.
Yeah, that's what's so Emil. Now
hold on, I got somebody who wants a dive bomb. No, I don't. Come here, just come say hi.
Come on in, Dom. Look
at
that! The Dominator, fresh from the shower and football practice.
I didn't know y'all had the same haircut.
Yeah, dude, they look identical, except that there are moments when I see Dominic when he looks just like his mom, but with like Emil's other stuff. You know, it's like a weird.
He gets uglied up by the dad. Right?
Well, no, actually, I think he looks more. I think his features are more taking after his mother, which is good because.
Right. No, I'm saying he's lucky that that's the case.
Mm-hmm. I think we're both lucky in that regard with our kids. They seem to have the best features of both of us. So wait, well, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about here?
I don't know that he threw the whole show off.
No, we got it. Yeah, thanks, Tom. No. We were talking about you earlier today. You were trying to get into your Netflix account.
I was,
yeah,
but I figured it out.
So we were just talking about Narcos. Have you ever seen the show Narcos?
I have not.
You would love Narcos.
Thank you,
because depending on how much you want to reveal, you kind of lived that lifestyle and you might know some of these people. Narcos season, James, is it 1 through 3?
1 through 3 is in Colombia. The first 2 are Pablo Escobar and the last one's the Cali cartel.
Yeah, Medellin and then the Cali cartel, or Cortez brothers, right? Wasn't that them?
No, it wasn't the Cortez brothers.
It's basically wasn't it Cortez? I thought it was the something bro. I thought it was Cortez. I don't know.
Pacho.
No, Pacho was the gay one.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So
because he shows up in Narcos Mexico too.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. And then Narcos Mexico. Okay. So anyway, it's the story of how the Medellin cartel and Pablo Escobar rose to power in the 1980s and from the beginning. From when he was just some fat, dumpy, kind of schlubby guy who was just like a soldier for some other big, crime boss down there. So it's half that, but then the other half of the series is the DEA, the Americans' efforts to sort of take them down. And you get to see how awesome, James, is the dude who plays Pablo, I was going to say Picasso. But Pablo, what's his name?
Escobar.
How awesome is that dude?
Well, because he has the same fascination as the real life Escobar, and the fact that he doesn't look like an alpha male. He kind of looks like the dumpy, smelly kid in the back of class
He looks
that grew
doughy.
up and now has a multi-billion-dollar drug empire.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you get to watch him go from let's torture this guy to death to doting father, and
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a Sopranos vibe where it shows the duality of that lifestyle, where you try and have a normal family life while
well, and also
people.
we're all humans, it's
Right.
it's a mix of evil and good. Hitler loved puppies,
There's nothing that says you can't chainsaw someone in half at noon and then go home and help your daughter with her arithmetic at 8.
or blow up a
There's no
whole airplane
rules.
full of people. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's so interesting because it is. I mean, I've done a little bit of background research on the series. Chris Brancato, who created it and wrote it, he researched it extensively. I mean, all of the details in it are straight from shit that actually happened.
When they burned down the Supreme Court and the evidence room that was in Escobar's trial. Well,
and he tried to become. Remember when he tried to become governor? I mean, he just decided.
Congressman, yeah, and he didn't win, but he was the alternate for a guy who won and then immediately resigned.
Yeah, it's great. So Narcos, you should start with season 1, episode 1. I think,
and it really happened. Like he really did get elected to Congress, kinda, and then he really was made to resign from Congress because a mugshot showed up. And like I kind of remember that faintly as a kid who wasn't really paying attention to the news, but I've seen that picture before.
Do you know what I remember? I remember when he went to jail. I remember back. Do you remember when Pablo Escobar got sent to jail in Colombia?
I do remember that.
And they show how that went down. And exactly.
He built his own jail. Yeah.
First of all, he built his own jail. He built the jail where he was going to stay in. So it was like a resort.
A house.
And he had these, remember the parties, the trucks that would pull in? And they'd open up the back of the truck and it was just filled with hookers and like lobster tails.
And then don't you remember at one point he was like offering to pay off like a third of the country's debt if they'd let him out? He was basically going to pay off all of Colombia's debt if they would let him out of jail.
Yeah, and then as James mentioned, when that didn't work, he simply firebombed the Supreme Court where all the evidence against him was being kept, and it worked.
It burned it down. It burned down the Supreme Court.
Oh, that Pablo. All right. Anyway, so I was looking at stuff to watch because I'm stalled out on Squid Game, not because I've lost interest, but because
I'm stalled out because the wife has left me high and dry watching episode number 2. I'm about to put it in gear tonight and just leave her in the dust.
Yeah, do that. You know what I mean? Just like you can't
have to catch up.
Assert control of the Netflix queue and have a little scene control.
Well, tonight, and I'm trying to figure out if maybe this will happen. There he is. There's his Narcos picture where he looks like a Colombian.
That's where I got these glasses from. I saw that earlier, like in a couple days ago. And I was like, I got glasses that look like that.
What is he doing when he goes dark? What are you doing when you go dark?
Sometimes I'm picking my nose. Sometimes I'm like making a refill. Sometimes I don't know.
Sometimes
I don't want to be seen.
Okay, all right. It's a little shady. That's all I'm saying.
It is. I kind of like that aspect of it too.
So the reason I was looking to see
what was making a phone call or answering the phone and stuff.
I gotta go get my vape. Hold on.
Oh, jeez, here we go. See, because we think you were smoking weed. That's why we think you go dark. We think you go, and that reminded Emil that he doesn't smoke weed anymore, but he does now suddenly vape.
Well, my life is not that charmed. What is it? Thursday?
It is. It is Thursday night. It is Thursday night, and of course, as we all know, on Thursday nights at midnight is when Netflix puts up. What do you got there? What is that?
New beer.
Looks like coffee. Oh, yeah. I like old beer. I like Miller Lite, Bud Light, and Coors Light. That's how you don't get into the the fancy beers.
It's called soft pants.
Soft pants. I bet it tastes awful. I mean,
it's a pastry stout.
Yeah, see, it's a stout. That's awful. That is really awful. That is just too heavy. Ugh. Yeah. Said a guy who drinks single malts and Irish whiskeys, but not in beer. Beer, I like my beer to be Michelob Ultra water level. Okay, so Thursday nights is when Netflix puts up their new shows, and I need to make sure that there is nothing else that I want to watch and it might be in a half hour. I'm gonna have to check in a half hour. The Many Saints of Newark debuts on HBO Max tonight.
Oh, I thought that was out already.
No, well, it's on the 1st, so it could be like literally at midnight tonight.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it might be 11 because it might be midnight East Coast time when they load it up. I don't know. I've never had now with Netflix new shows that would theoretically be they'll debut this Friday. What they do is they upload them and they're available at 2 a.m. Friday morning. So if you stay up late Thursday night and you really want to see something at 2 a.m. Thursday night, you can watch it. And I'm not sure if HBO Max does the same thing. The Many Saints of Newark is the Sopranos prequel, and it has been in select theaters in New York City
for a week.
For the last week. And then tomorrow it opens wide in theaters across America. And also because of this crazy cool pandemic deal that HBO Max made, it's also going to be streaming on HBO Max starting, I'm hoping, tonight. So I didn't want to watch a bunch of Squid Games today because I didn't want to be overly enthused, because I know that if I can have the opportunity, I'm going to watch Many Saints of Newark tonight. That's the one that I've been waiting years for.
Is it a series or a movie?
It's a movie. Yeah.
Okay. Now that you bring it out, I'm a little concerned it hasn't been in trending topics all week. With the hype,
yeah,
you would think that it would hit trending topics.
Yeah, you're right. No, it hasn't. I mean, it did last week when it opened in New York, because that's why we talked.
Well, prior to opening, it did. But since it's been open for a week, it hasn't.
Let's see here. Let me see what's trending right now. Bengals, Urban Meyer, because everybody thinks he's going to quit now, which would be awesome.
He's not going to quit.
What's your beef with Urban Meyer?
It's what people in Ohio State said too. And then he just Urban Meyer's a quitter, man. Urban Meyer does not like to sit around on a shitty team. Although, I think
he got the number 1 draft pick.
I know, right?
You're coming to a town that, I mean, he's got time.
Let me see here. Yeah, no, it is not trending. It is not trending, at least not on Twitter right now. Okay. Hey,
a little concerning.
Yeah. James, you got anything for us?
Hey, so I sent you an email earlier. You had asked about the PSAs, and I said we'll just do the rest of them tomorrow.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. Well. Oh, did you already read that and you're rejecting it? Because
no.
Okay. Because there's extra premise under it. You can play all the PSAs, and you have to guess which one got me banned.
Yeah. No. That's a different subject. You got nothing else for us? Got nothing.
Oh, he's asking you about the Florida Man song.
Nothing else?
Oh, the Florida Man song? No. Oh my God, no.
Got nothing else for us?
I can't beat this guy. I can't beat that. Not
Florida Man, catch an alligator in the trash can. If you can't do it, no one can. Come on now, Florida Man. You do things different down south, straight into the trash can's mouth. Look down the swamp and let them out. Come on now, Florida Man. Florida Man, you much my life. That's the way our country was designed. But we need you, Florida Man, to catch those alligators in the trash can. Someday soon, seem to me, the Florida will be beneath the sea, passed down through the generations. The legend of Florida Man. Florida Man, catch an alligator in the trash can. If you can't do it, no one can. Come on now, Florida Man. Come on now, Florida Man. Come on now, Florida Man. Florida Man, you're much my life. That's the way our country was designed. But we need you, Florida Man, to catch those alligators in the trash can. Someday soon, seem to me, the Florida will be beneath the sea, passed down through the generations. The legend of Florida Man. The legend of Florida Man. The legend of Florida.
I'm telling you, I love that song.
Did-
Okay, so why did I play that song? Because Florida Man was on TV tonight. Let's watch him, shall we? Here we go. He was on with Chris Cuomo. Check it out.
Eugene joins us now, and I finally figured
There he
out
is.
why it makes sense. Eugene's last name is Bozzi, B-O-Z-Z-I. Italian blood. I knew it had to be in there.
I don't
North
think so.
Philly, Italian blood. That alligator never stood a chance. It is great to see you. What do you make of the celebration?
I know,
of our
he's so-
alligator
Stop it.
sensation?
Can you just stop it?
I sure can.
Basically, I'm gonna take it like this.
Hold on.
I think that
He's so awkward, isn't he?
Totally. Because that's what the Italians are known for, wrestling gators. If I've ever seen an Italian, he was probably wrestling a gator. You know, through all the wine.
I
and
mean,
cheese
Italy's
and
in a
Roman Empire, they're
peninsula.
known for gators.
Yeah, they got no gators in Italy.
Of course not. First off, he doesn't look like he's from Italy. Number two, do alligators even exist in freaking Italy?
Well, I mean, Sicily is close to North Africa, and we know that crocodiles inhabit the Nile. So, I mean, you know, it's not like
Well, I don't know either. I'm just spouting, but no one associates Italians with alligators. Chris Cuomo, why? Why?
I love this interview, by the way.
It's like I
did you-
sure do relate to you because you have a sort of ethnic last name that's like matches mine.
you know, it's ethnic provincialism.
He means
thinks
well.
he's
He means well. He's trying to be friendly. It's just weird.
He's so corny. Chris Cuomo is so corny all the time, and
the alligator was really deprived and tired after going through that ordeal. So I just really wanted to make sure all parties were safe. That's why I put the alligator back in the lake because I love animals and I respect the wildlife and all that. That's why we kind of went down to Florida just to change the environment for my children and get them out of that concrete jungle. And Philadelphia is kind of rough right now, so that was the decision we made on behalf of our children.
Listen, obviously you love your kids because who takes on an alligator? What made you think this is the way to capture the alligator?
I had a few encounters. My daughter like riding a bike. They ride the bikes all day in my neighborhood because no cars come to the street at all. Like unless you just park in the garage. So they ride all day. They like seen a small one a few weeks ago. I threw the small one. I grabbed it by his tail. It was like a little rag doll. I threw it back in there. So it was like a big experience. I'm like, oh, it's a really alligator. So fast forward to that day, my daughter actually came and got me and said, "Dad, you really gonna talk the talk, man?" I said, "What are you talking about?" She showed me. I didn't see it at first, and when I got close enough, seen it, and I was like, "Oh, let me get the trash can." I used it, slowed myself down a little bit, used my Wolverine techniques, and the Steve Irwin came out a little bit in me because Steve Irwin before YouTube, and when you watch Steve Irwin.
all right, let me just pause it here for a second. Can I just say I love this guy. Florida Man is even better in real life than I
He
thought.
is.
I'd hoped
He
he
is.
Yeah, but you knew he would be. He caught a damn alligator in his trash can. You knew he was going to be cool.
The best part of the interview is coming up. It's his logic on how he was going to do this. Wait till you hear
videos
it.
back then, you absorbed them in because there wasn't no rewind unless you want to rewind the tape. So fast forward to the situation, I gulped him up. I treated like a hungry hippo mouth.
That's exactly what it was. That was absolutely hungry hippo
hippos
all day long. So
Right,
you say your military training. How did the military help you in this situation? Dealing with the adrenaline?
Military, I'm not saying training like to actually attack or apprehend alligators, but to be under pressure, to not panic and approach the situation and just finish the task and eliminate the threat. So you can make the environment around you safe. That's kind of what I did in Afghanistan with my other veterans, and I'm proud that I served this country, and I hope the country is happy for me serving. You know what I'm saying? So I did my time, and I embraced that. My kids, I got 7 daughters. They embrace me. They love me to death.
7 daughters.
Yeah. Listen, I make ends meet. I ain't tough, but it's tough. But we make it. We happy. We comfortable. This right here is just an extra blessing.
An alligator is the least of your problems with 7 daughters. And look, I know
especially like
this is
with dudes
stuff,
like you and your
gotta
brother
be
out there,
careful.
Chris.
Next time, God willing, just call the wildlife cops.
Absolutely. I'll tell everybody go in the house and just call the police. I appreciate that.
What is that part?
I appreciate it. Eugene.
Wait. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Hey, just remember next time, call the wildlife cops. Why? He handled himself fine. No one got hurt.
Well, he got lucky.
Oh, but you better be safe,
Have-
Florida man. I know how to handle alligators better than you. I live on Long Island.
Isn't
Shut
that
up!
the best way to describe though what he did with the trash can as Hungry Hippo? Have you ever played Hungry Hippo with your kids?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
What?
yes.
The game. I mean, when you see the thing go down like that, that's exactly the
Uh-huh.
Hungry Hippo motion.
Yeah, but again, I'll point out that the alligator cooperated. The alligator went when he was hitting the noggin with the lid. The alligator went in the
But
direction.
he got it from behind the head,
Yeah.
which then provoked it to
Right, that's
go
part of the genius.
forward.
Yes, that's part of the genius, Emil.
Right.
I'm not gonna say genius.
Oh,
I think that
come
was
on,
luck.
man.
I don't think that
Christ.
was.
No,
I'm
the
gonna give you
whole
a
way
trash can and a gator. Let's see what you do.
the
No,
whole way he approached it lets me know that he was thinking Hungry Hippo before it actually looked like Hungry Hippo. Like we were way behind in his thinking.
Yeah.
Giving us a good story with a happy ending. God bless you and your 7 daughters and your entire family. And thank God you're safe. Thank you for letting us see
Thank you, sir.
somebody do something remarkable.
All
All right,
there you go.
stop it right here. Go back to that picture. Go back to the frame. I want to show you something in the still shot.
All right, hold on. All right, gotta go back to it. Okay, go. Okay. What am I looking at?
So it's got soundproofing in the background, and there's a window that's cut into a wall. So he is in either a recording studio or a radio studio.
James, that is so funny that I thought that too when I was watching it live. I'm like, I bet this guy's a producer. I bet you he's got a home studio. I bet you he's because think about it. He's got 7 daughters. First of all, 7 daughters. He's got 7 daughters. And it looks like he's in a pretty nice neighborhood. I mean, he must have a job or be semi-successful at whatever it is he does.
Well, look, you can date the property by how white the driveway is, because my driveway needs to be power washed. This is an old ass house. It's almost black.
Yeah, but he said earlier that he had just moved there. He had moved from North Philly because
right. But that's still a house that's only a few years old.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks nice. I mean, when I saw an extended clip. You saw this whole thing, right? That when it was airing live, they showed an extended clip of what we showed earlier in the day, which is how he deposited the alligator back into the reservoir or whatever it was. And because the one that I had seen earlier was only about a 30-second clip, this one that they showed rolled for about a minute and a half. And it was a nice neighborhood. It's a really nice neighborhood. You got 7 kids and you get a house in a nice neighborhood. Yeah, I bet he's some kind of music producer or something. Because James, you're absolutely right. This right here, this is a window into a control studio. This is all soundproof. It's like he's in the music room, and then over here is where the production is all done.
What's that red light say? On air?
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be a reflection off of the camera he's looking into. James, what do you think?
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Lightsaber.
But yeah, that studio looked like my buddy Gary's back in Chicago.
Well, the thing is, I think just as likely scenario, if not more likely, is that he's a successful guy in whatever endeavor he is. Maybe he's a CPA or he's a tax attorney. Who knows? But he has a little extra scratch, enough to buy a nice house and raise 7 daughters.
Why do you feel compelled to just not land on music producer like I did? Why do you feel compelled to give him some white collar kind of job?
Because if you're a music producer and you have 7 daughters at that age and that's your primary job, you don't live in a house that's that nice. So I think a hobbyist music producer, either that's his studio that he's built with some of the extra money that he's made, or he's put together an album and he's recording it at his boy's studio and he wanted to go there to do the Skype interview because it's soundproofed and everything, and plus it just looks cooler than him being in his living room.
Yeah, no, that did not look like a dinky studio. That looked like a studio that you could arrange a full band in. I mean, there was depth to that room. It's not like, a lot of home studios where it's basically a closet, like a walk-in closet where people record in. All right. Hey, speaking of, did you see that the Super Bowl announced their halftime show for the upcoming Super Bowl in Los Angeles?
It sounds like they announced it for the next 10 years. There's like 8 people in this, isn't there?
Did you see it?
I did, and I'm stoked. I can't wait.
I know.
Are they all going to do like 2 minutes?
Dude, I heard this lineup and I
They
was
have 15 minutes, I think is what they said.
And probably they'll all play together or they're all perform together at some point, I would think, because they all seem to be off the Dre tree. They're all people who,
Yep.
have, right?
Yep.
I mean, so you would assume that at some point it'll just be Dre and then Eminem and Snoop Dogg and whoever else is there.
Mary J. Blige.
Mary J. Blige. Yeah, Mary J's not off the Dre tree, but do you know, James? Did he produce her at some point? Maybe. She's East Coast.
Yeah, I don't even think they did any crossover stuff.
Was Mary J? Is Mary J who was married to
Biggie?
Biggie? Yeah.
No,
that was Faith Evans. That was Faith Evans. Right. Or was that Faith Hill? I get the country and the
Faith Hill is married to Tim McGraw.
Right. So it's Faith Evans. That's it. Look, here's the problem with that. I get Faith Evans and Faith Hill combined because I'm not overly familiar with either their music. And I also believe that Keith Urban should be an urban R&B singer and John Legend should be a country and Western singer. I think that they've got their genres mixed up. So doesn't that make sense? Like,
what throws me off is Keith Urban's from Australia.
Yeah, I know, but Keith Urban, that sounds like a baby, whoa, whoa. Like he'd be like, like Keith Sweat or something like that. And then John Legend, if you didn't know who John Legend, here's a new song coming up by John Legend. You would think it's a country song. You would think it's a country artist. That just seems like a country name to me. John Legend. Anyway, but we digress. The thing that I loved most about the announcement of this year's Super Bowl, and by the way, last year's wasn't last year's like Shakira and J-Lo or something?
I don't know.
I think I remember it being worse than that.
Yeah, maybe it was Gloria Estefan. I don't know. It was in Miami. It was whatever it was. I know J-Lo was involved. That was not a particularly interesting one. But this year's Super Bowl halftime show was announced this afternoon, probably about 3:30. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop, and more lead a star-studded 2022 Super Bowl halftime show. But here's my favorite part of it. Oh, the old white men are angry. There's like so many angry white middle-aged men on Twitter talking about this is the worst. They don't even give it. I'm like, no, this is actually not the worst, old dude. This is actually a really killer lineup that is probably going to do as much of a buzz for the game as any Super Bowl halftime act in a very long time. I mean, would you guys agree with me on that? Or?
Oh, I think it's awesome. Like when I saw it, I was like, wow, that's going to be a real, like Snoop said, go get your popcorn and your refreshments at the 2-minute warning. Do not wait till we get to halftime.
It's going to be great. Wait, wasn't last year The Weeknd too? Isn't that when The Weeknd?
It was The Weeknd.
Oh yeah, where he was in the mirrored house.
Yeah, that was actually a good show.
Yeah, I
liked
cool.
The Weeknd. I thought he put on a good production. And then knowing that he funded most of it, that was even more impressive.
So, James, Emil, your dad's not around. My dad's not around. James, your dad is a lifelong Texan, right? East Texas guy, a real man's man, kind of. What's his take on this? What's his take on the halftime show? What would he be one of those guys like, God damn it?
Well, no, look, you act like old people are all offended. Dr. Dre's like 53 years old. You're only offending people who are like,
I'm not acting.
Plus,
would you like me to read some of the?
Of course, you can go find
no less a guy than Mike Reiner, who sent out a tweet that said, "Well, I guess this is going to be an opportunity for me to step outside and have a cigarette." And I'm like, and then you read all the comments. It's just all these angry men going.
How old is Mike Reiner though? Mike Reiner's like 75.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just funny. It's just.
And I think their attempt to tie the white crowd in was to get Eminem.
No, their attempt to draw the white crowd in was to create this amazing slate of performers who have been crossover monsters for 25 years. White people love Dre and Eminem and Snoop.
Of course, but I'm saying I think if you don't like that genre, going to a white rapper is where you're going to go. I mean, you're hoping that that's going to somehow keep them, involved.
All right.
I don't know. I think
Dr. Dre is 56 years old.
Yeah.
he appeals to old people. You know how I know?
Yeah.
Because he appeals to you two and me. We are now old. Y'all talk like old people, like it's some disparate other.
I'm talking basically about older white guys who never
We
embraced
are older
hip-hop.
white guys.
Right, but it is rare I can tell you that among my friends, all of my high school friends, there are very few that like hip hop music at all. I mean, that's just, I mean, I can tell you that I have friends who probably rolled their eyes when they saw this and went, man, I wish they could just get Tom Petty or Bon Jovi up again. It's like, that's what they want.
Well, Tom Petty's not going to make it.
I know. But you get my greater point. Well, I'd rather see a reformed Leonard Skinner up there than have to sit and watch all of this garbage.
I bet there's
garbage.
more people who agree with us that they would like to see it your age.
Certainly the people Pepsi, who put this thing together, is trying to reach. Yeah, absolutely. Pepsi,
so if you're alienating the 55 and older crowd or the 59 and older crowd, I think that's a pretty reasonable gamble to make.
Can we also put it out there? It's just a great way to needle the racists out there. I mean, the racist white guys.
Who are the racists? Who are these people?
They're out there. I can read you a number of tweets right now. You don't wanna check out the hashtag Super Bowl halftime because trust me, a lot of people who are pretty confident in their views, their worldviews, and they're letting the world know. All right, so here it is. The Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show will have no shortage of star power. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar have officially been announced as performers. Super Bowl will take place at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California on Sunday, February 13th. I'm extremely excited to share the stage with my friends, Dr. Dre wrote after the lineup was announced on Thursday. This will introduce the next saga of my career, bigger and better than ever. So this is like a Dre thing. Like I imagine Dre is going to be sort of the center of attention, and then you're going to see all of these massive multi-platinum selling artists that he discovered and that he put out there, most notably Snoop and Eminem. And Kendrick Lamar, I guess, representing the newer, of Southern California hip hop guys. And I don't even want to say newer. He's been around probably 5 years. But when you compare it to guys like Eminem and Snoop, who's been around almost 30 years now, it's that's a little something for the kids, if you will. And Mary J, I guess she's like Jello. There's always room for Mary J. There's always room for her to get up there and belt out a few soulful tunes. It will be Dr. Dre's first big performance since suffering a brain aneurysm earlier this year. Eminem also, I didn't know that. Did you guys know that?
No. Wow. And to be in as good a shape as he was at halftime, I mean, how fortunate is he?
Yeah, I didn't know there was anything wrong with Dre. Eminem also shared the news on social media, writing Eminem wrote on social media, "It's Dre Day in February. I'm there." So there you go. That's a good. So, dare we read the comments? dare we dive into the comment section? James is the one who wants to know about racists and where are they? I'm sure I can pull a couple here.
I felt like immediately when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to be good." Like they went too wide.
Aren't they being outnumbered like 10,000 to 1?
No, not in the comment sections. No, the comment sections is where these people live. It's where the only place where they're
bathroom wall of the internet.
First one, top of the list from Tom. Tom says, "Personally, I'm glad. I need a nice long break during the Super Bowl. Back when they had great halftime performers, Petty, McCartney, Bruce, Stones, we didn't get a break. We went from the game and commercials straight to incredible halftime shows, and then back to the game. Now we get a 30-minute break." I mean, come on. Come on, that's funny. These people, the world has passed them by, and they're angry about it.
He couldn't have picked any more white.
You want to hear Cletus? I know, right?
Lighter than that. He could have said like the Osmonds or something.
Should we get into what Cletus has to say? Cletus.
There's a Cletus.
Oh, Cletus. I'm not kidding. Here, I'll show it to you just so you don't.
Well, then this is a burner account. This is
yeah, that's possible. Yeah, he could be just like a Cletus. I just hope the show lasts long enough for me to visit the John and grab something to eat. After that, I'll flip channels until the third quarter starts. What are you so angry about? What are you flipping the channel? Why you gotta just flip the channel? You can't ignore it, you moron. You can't just talk to people. I mean, nobody flipped the channels back in the 70s when it was freaking Wayne Newton or Up with People or, the Southern California Marching Band. We didn't have to violently oppose what was being put on in front of us. What's the reason behind this? Why is Cletus so upset?
Well, why does Cletus feel the need to tell an internet full of strangers about his strong opinion? Like, who gives a rip? Like, I never write comments because no one cares what I think.
Because the comment section is where the absolute worst people that have ever stolen a breath of air from any of us live.
It's the bathroom wall of the internet. Because you ever written on a bathroom wall? I haven't. I've never been that angry at a minority or some ex-girlfriend or whatever. It's either jokes or just some horribly offensive vulgarity.
Get the bathroom wall, you draw a big dick. That's what you do. That's what the bathroom wall is for. You got a marker, you draw a big dick and balls, and that's it. You move on. Now you don't need to put anything. You don't need to state your worldview, in the bathroom wall. Although, did you know I once had a great idea? When I was younger, I wanted to create a coffee table book, and I wanted to travel the world, and I wanted to take pictures, photographs of the bathroom wall graffiti in all the most famous places in the world, like the Roman Colosseum. Like I'm sure there's public restrooms there because they do tours, and I'm sure there's some, different stadiums, the Smithsonian. Because no matter where you go, no matter how nice it is, if you let the general public in there, somebody's scrawling something on the wall.
It sounds like it'd be something good. That's good, like a Google Maps, where you can drop the little dude in the map and walk around and kind of look up.
Yeah, maybe. Well, this was back in the time when coffee table books. It was back in the time when books were still a thing. Victor says, seriously? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. What about all us football fans who can't name a single song that any of these people performed? I guess we'll all be checking what's on the other channels during halftime. Oh, Victor, don't threaten us. I'm sure the ratings will.
That's exactly why there's a halftime show, Victor. It's for the people that aren't football fans. They need to keep them there with the commercials.
And people don't realize this, but I remember, Emil, you do too. Super Bowl halftime shows only started to get cool late 80s. The 85 Super Bowl, the Chicago Bears, the most memorable Super Bowl of my lifetime as a little kid, watching my team just stomp the New England Patriots. The halftime show was a band, a marching band.
No, that somebody figured out, in order to keep people the whole game, we need to do something at halftime for the non-football fans.
Tim C says, awesome. Can't wait to miss this.
All right. See, there's also, because these guys are so old, because Eminem's old as hell too. My kids don't know who any of these guys are. Kendrick Lamar is like maybe a little too old for my kids.
He's like 30, right? He's not like,
he hadn't put out an album in the last 4 or 5 years. So it's funny because I don't think my kids would be excited to see any of these people either. So they're sort of like a sandwich of like the really old people and then like really young kids. They want to see a Doja Cat or Olivia Rodrigo or something like that.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
But the reality is, the people that are paying the Super Bowl prices for the tickets are not the kids in that age group.
No, these are Gen X acts. The Dr. Dre is a Gen Xer. Snoop Dogg is a Gen Xer.
Yes.
What's his name? I think that Eminem is probably a Gen Xer too, probably born in the late 70s, maybe mid 70s. So, this is not, you're right. This is not a contemporary, this is not The Weeknd like they had last year.
Mary J. Blige is older than me.
Yeah, Mary J. Blige is probably my age too. Here's another comment. This one's got 30 upvotes, and not one instrument's going to be played between them.
Valid point.
Well,
That is a demerit, but
yeah.
I mean,
Is it? Is it though? I mean, I'm pretty sure that Dr. Dre could pick up almost that. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He can play piano, he can play guitar, he can play all kinds of stuff. And he has been playing all kinds of stuff for years.
what? No. I think that's a silly criticism for another reason. They're always lip syncing. They're never playing instruments. When the Red Hot Chili Peppers had the halftime show, they didn't even have their guitars plugged in. Like you could see, it's like it's not even. You don't even have like the radio pack plugged in, like the wireless pack that you plug into. Their guitars weren't plugged in. There's never an instrument played, so that's why that criticism rings hollow to me.
They'll all be playing the bong.
Valid point.
Here's what Elle has to say. I'm sure it'll be family-friendly show. Who doesn't want to see a bunch of ex-gangbangers and drug dealers put on a show? Well, a lot of people want to see that, Elle. I don't know. Oh boy, don't let me forget to be going to the bathroom. Well, that seems to be the common joke.
Thread, yeah.
Very good. Okay, so we're done. Anyway, that's what I found most interesting about the Super Bowl halftime announcement. It's just all the people going nuts. And they're all just like older white dudes. None of these. There's not a 60-year-old black man chiming in going, and not one instrument's going to be played. I mean, this is very. It's very.
I bet you none of them are going to take off their shirt like Adam Levine did.
Yeah. What are these little pussies? You little old man pussy. You want to see Maroon 5? Is that what you're asking for? Is that going to make you happy?
Right.
Well, I also like to broaden behind the dichotomy of just white versus black. You don't see any Mexicans making those posts, any Hispanic or Latino commenters that are saying, oh man, there's not going to be one gigantic acoustic guitar out there, or no one's going to be wearing a sombrero. There's none of that. No one's going to have there's not one accordion in the whole stage.
I bet you there'll be quite a few cameos, even people that have not made this bill.
Well, yeah,
will be on that stage. Dre will be having people come in. Snoop will be having people come in. I'd be shocked if there probably weren't, by the time this is over, like 10 or 15 named musicians. Like everybody's going like, wow, where'd he come from? Where'd she come from?
This is Dr. Dre. Now, regardless of, whether you want to see Skinner do the halftime show, Dr. Dre is across the board one of the most respected people in the music industry. If somebody comes out of nowhere who isn't even famous now and they have the number one song in the country at that point, and Dre picks up the phone and go, hey, well, get on a plane and join me Sunday night, that person will be on stage with him. James, you mentioned people like Doja Cat or whoever, any of the new Gen Z sort of friendly acts. There'll be a few of those. Those people will jump at the chance to be on stage with Snoop Dogg and Eminem. Are you kidding me?
And the other thing is, don't think that Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige don't know that there's a group of people out here tonight in the chat rooms doing exactly what we're showing them doing. And I bet you they're going to go out of their way to make sure they cross over into the people who are like, whoa, where's Skinner? Where's Chris Davis? Like, where's Country? I guarantee they're going to do something for that.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear them break into Sweet Home Alabama just for a few bars.
Well, but I mean, literally,
come out.
I could see them doing something with another genre of music, almost the way that Aerosmith got played with Run DMC. I mean, that mashup turned into a huge opportunity for Aerosmith
hip-hop.
When they were buried.
That was one of the biggest moments in hip hop history when that.
Well, and Aerosmith's history, if you want to talk about a comeback.
Yeah, it definitely did. But it also opened the door. More suburban white kids were introduced to Run DMC because of that video than had ever. I mean, Run DMC had been around for years, but they were essentially like an underground band. They were pop. Hip hop wasn't a thing really. That was one of the moments that made hip hop more mainstream.
And Aerosmith was dead.
Yeah, that was their comeback. Yeah, Aerosmith, those guys were all strung out on heroin between 1979 and the making of that video. And then after that video, Aerosmith rattled off 90% of the hits that they're known for now. After that, I mean, talk about a comeback. They didn't just make a comeback, they made a comeback, and then they quadrupled the success that they had before, and they were one of the biggest bands of the 70s. I mean, that's how big Aerosmith got.
And you think, here we are, it's beginning of October, and you put a musical mind and genius of Dre, Snoop, and Eminem. Those are three guys that we all say can have rocked it on the financial side and on the music side.
Dre's a billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what they're going to do.
Speaking of, did you see James? I'm pretty sure that he hasn't seen this because you've seen 3 shows, and now you're working on your 4th in Squid Game. Did you see the Defiant Ones on HBO? It was an 8-part documentary series.
Oh, sorry.
You should see it though, because you'd love it, because I know that you're like a production geek and a producer. It's an 8-part docu-series on HBO, probably from about 5 years ago, focusing on the relationship between Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, and about how they worked together and how they came up together, and how and essentially how they made the Beats headphone deal that made them both billionaire. Well, I guess Jimmy Iovine was already pretty close to being a billionaire because he owned all the music from 1980 until, but it was it's really good, man. It's really interesting. It's called The Defiant Ones, and it's about how they just they did their own thing. Everybody told them no, and they just did it anyway. All right, Defiant Ones. There you go.
All right, can I get a refill now? Is this a good time for me to step aside? And
Yeah, go ahead.
plus, I want to make sure my kids are.
Are we going to play the James bits?
PSAs?
Oh yeah. We'll do that. We can do that when we come back. Yesterday on the show, James was regaling us with some of his finer works from his days as our producer and side performer, sideman, whatever you want to call it. We played the cell phone ringtone game.
Was that was, I woke up this morning thinking to myself,
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
About as good as it got.
Sounds like an alarm clock, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
that sounds like what your alarm clock should sound like.
Yep.
Let's see what else we have here. Oh, that is just so terrible. Unbelievable. So we played that game where we had to try and figure out what songs those analog early 90s sounds were trying to mimic. That, of course, was D-Light's
ringtones.
Ringtones, yeah. They were like really bad early cell phone ringtones. So we played that game. And then he also gave us a bunch of what we used to call James's PSAs, which were, modeled after the old NBC public service campaign, The More You Know, which would air in commercial breaks between sitcoms and stuff like that. So we played a number of those yesterday as well. And he sent me some new ones.
And these are all about 20 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
These are all from early aughts, I would say. What did he say he wants the game to be? He said, which
Guess
one?
the one that got him suspended.
All right, hold on, let me look. Well, that's easy. Yeah. I mean, now that I'm looking at the 3 choices, I think it's not as difficult as maybe James thinks it is. There is one that definitely, and I already listened to him. I listened when he sent them earlier today. I gave him a listen. All right, let's see here.
Well, the good news is he can't get suspended here.
No. That's one of the good things. Oh, here's another big story that people were talking about today. Did you see the Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban? You got to be vaccinated. You want to go to a Mavs game this year?
I felt that was going to happen.
Yeah, he says he's taking a lot of crap for it, obviously. He's also earning a lot of kudos from people. But for the upcoming season, the Dallas Mavericks season, if you want to attend a Mavericks game, you have to show proof of your vaccination, or you have to show a negative COVID test that was done within the previous 48 hours. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. And this news story broke because he sent it out to all the season ticket holders first. Now, imagine you're a season ticket holder, you're an anti-vaxxer, anti-masker, but you love your Mavericks. You got to give the money back? I mean, how's that work?
No, I'm sure they would probably say, okay, if you want to give up your season tickets, if you paid for them, that you can.
This is one of the things that I love about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is a guy with FU money. You know what I mean? He doesn't care. He's doing what he believes is right for the greater good of society, something that drives James nuts. Well, let's hope he doesn't hear me say that. And he doesn't really care if season ticket holders, revolt or whatever. He'll just donate all those tickets to people who are, you know what I mean? Like kids.
I would imagine that all owners are going to take this position, given that if you are an NBA player, which they announced today too, and you are not vaxxed and you get sick, you're not going to get paid.
Yeah, or if you play in a city that requires you to be vaxxed to be in the arena, like in California or New York, if that prohibits you from playing your home games because you can't play if you're not vaxxed in that city, then yeah, you're not getting paid. You're not going to be able to sit out. The NBA announced that today, and Cuban made this big announcement. Now, why? Maybe you might know this better than I do because I'm not as up on hockey or the Dallas Stars. Is there some kind of issue? Because when the Cuban thing was circulating around, a lot of other people, friends in Dallas, were like, "Oh, if we could only get the Stars involved," or I'm not. A lot of people on Twitter, Dallas people that I know, are like, "Yeah, I'm not even a Stars fan anymore. I can't believe it. I'm sick to death of this team. I can't believe what are the Stars doing? Do the Stars have like a whole bunch of people who are?
I mean, last year, if you remember, the Canadian teams could not come out of Canada.
Yeah.
And there was a different division, if you will, of teams that you played because of the way that they were trying to limit travel. And so they kind of realigned all the teams in different, for lack of a better word, conferences. And so this year, I think now with Canada easing their restrictions and you're allowed to travel over the border and back and forth like that, I can imagine that the hockey teams are going to enforce this as well.
But
I would think at some point.
Have the Stars been bad about this? I mean, are there like players?
No, I thought the NHL was actually pretty good about it last year. I mean, they didn't let people come to the games until later in the season, and they limited the amount of fans that were there, but you were forced to wear a mask the whole time unless you were eating or drinking. And so I think people are going to be excited to maybe go to the games, not be limited in as much attendance, and also not be forced to wear your mask.
So here's where we are. Just a couple of headlines here. Dallas Morning News from 1 week ago. Dallas Stars players and staff are fully vaccinated against COVID-19 at NHL level, says GM Jim Nill. And then the next headline says Dallas Stars part with Joel La Esperance for refusing vaccine. Sounds like the Stars are taking it pretty seriously.
Well, I think all teams should.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the amount of revenue they lost last year because they weren't having people in the stands.
Okay, so the Mavericks are requiring a vaccine. Should the Dallas Stars, from 3 weeks ago, should the Dallas Stars require proof of vaccine at the arena? Well, who owns the Stars now? Who's the owner of the Stars? It's not Hicks.
Guy with a C.
Okay. Does he have a stake in the arena? Because I know Cuban owns part of the arena.
Well, at one point I know that came with the Stars. Whether he still has whether he has a stake or Hicks still does, or how that was transferred, I don't know.
Because I wonder if right now you must be vaccinated or you must show proof of a negative COVID test for 48 hours. That's only being applied to Mavericks games. I'm wondering if they could just as easily do that for Dallas games or Stars games. And is that coming next? And can they do it for concerts? Can any event being held at that building if the owners decide? Because Cuban decided this for Mavericks games, and we know that he's one of the owners of the arena. So maybe they can just.
Well, and again, I think it's going to be the promoter too. Like who is coming in to the arena and what does that band want to do? If they don't want to be exposed to people that haven't had a vaccination. I mean, because if you're touring and you catch COVID in Dallas, you're probably not going to play your next gig the next night and the next night, for 2 weeks after. So I would be concerned. The other thing I think is going to be interesting is what is going to be considered proof? Do you have to actually have your vaccination card in hand, or
Yeah.
can you take a picture of it
No,
and have
yeah.
that on your phone?
I've got it on my phone, and I've actually looked that up. And yeah, they're not going to bust balls. If you're it's perfectly acceptable if you have a picture of it on your phone. Other people have it laminated. You know, there was even somebody, I was reading this, was it Radar, some Radar story where somebody got their Vax card tattooed on their arm. Like they literally got it tattooed. And the person said, well, you're crazy. Why would you do that? And he said, well, because this is one of the most memorable experiences of my life. And I have no regrets about permanently tattooing it on my arm. This was a big moment. And if you take a step back, you're like, yeah, you know, I mean, we're in it right now, so we don't have that 30,000 foot perspective. But 50 years from now, God willing, we're all still around, we'll tell our great grandkids about, the pandemic of 2020. I mean, this is really a society changing moment that we're going through. And you never recognize those moments when you're in them because you're too close to it. But, years from now, you'll be like, yeah, remember, this has really been a shitty kind of 6 years. This, I think it was Ken Burns who just said a couple of weeks ago that there was it 4. Yes, this is the 4th most defining moment in American history. There was the Civil War, there was the Great Depression, there was World War II, and then there's the last 5 years of divisiveness, and then on top of that, the pandemic. I mean, do you remember before the pandemic how bad everything was with everybody screaming and hating at each other? We're like, it can't get any worse.
And then you'd have people argue that the 8 years prior to those 4 years were the worst 8 years.
Don't shut up. No, it wasn't.
Well, but I'm just being honest.
I know. Racist. Yeah, come on, that's what that's all about. It was just people in this country who could not handle the idea that a black dude was in charge. That's honestly what. Now, I'm glad I'm saying this when James isn't here because he would want to argue about all kinds of stupid shit.
Right, but some people would argue that the past 4 years were, prior to the pandemic, those were 4 of the best years that we had after a rundown of 8.
A minority of people. That's been proven out in 2 elections. A minority of people would say that. We're not getting political. I don't want to get political, but honestly, folks, take a deep breath, look around. These are some magical times here in America. There are going to be books written about these times. There's going to be historians going on tours in 30 years. These are big times. And
there are people that don't think we're going to make it out of these times, and the end of the world is just around the corner. So save your book writing.
Those people have always been around. Those people have always said their end times. It doesn't matter. The Grateful Dead in 1987 had that album Touch of Grey with the song Hell in a Bucket, where they were singing about how the whole world is. Here's what I want to know. At what stage of American history did society as a whole get together and go, these years from now, these are the good old days? It's never happened. No matter what year it was, people have always been like, the world is going to hell. I mean, there is no sense of... James is back. Hi, James. Just ranting about how people who say that the world is coming to an end, or, they have apocalyptic... Hey, look, it's Mrs. Parker. Mrs. Parker.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Parkers. People have always been predicting the end of times and saying that whatever is happening on the front pages is an indicator that we are now closer than ever to end of times. Well, actually all of us, maybe not James, because Emil, you and I, certainly, we survived the goddamn Cold War where we were taught tuck and cover in school because it wasn't a tornado drill. It was a vaporization drill.
If your desk was going to do something to the vapors that were going to come into the room.
And just completely flatten the entire world. I went to bed every night, scared, 6, 7, 8 years old, scared shitless that the whole world was going to end because we were...
that get under your desk drill. I mean, come on.
James, they stopped that for you, right? You weren't in school.
I never did a duck and cover. I'm aware it existed, and my mom told me about it, but no, I personally never ducked and covered. And the wife has no idea what you're talking about. She's a few years younger than me, and she's never even heard of duck and cover. She's over here going, what are they talking about?
Great.
Fair enough. I like that she has a beverage as well.
There was a drill that we did every couple of months or so, which prepared us for it.
What's happened?
Oh, are
You're very garbled at the moment.
issue. Power issue.
Wait, how did I end up here? You're the Pugs down there, and then Amel's over there. Hey, Amel.
Yeah, something happened. He got garbled and then he moved his spot.
So he left and came back, and is now the third chair.
He's now blacked out.
Yeah, you're all glitchy, dude.
You're glitchy and you're not there. Let's bring Monique in.
Expression on her face.
This is Pugs' best impression of the Charlie Brown teacher.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like Max Headroom.
Right. Well,
Pugs, you all right? Pugs? Pugs? All right. It's the Amel and James show. Amel, James, and Monique.
well,
All company and no Pugs.
Yep.
He's going to send us another link, and we're going to have to, like, end this broadcast and go to the new one. Watch.
Log out.
Well,
What is
let's
that
see.
we're seeing? Oh, I
What's
like
that?
her clock. That's a clock? That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you want to show Amel around the studio?
No.
Let me just see here.
Oh, that's a different wall. I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a tapestry on it. And
there
then
we go. Nice.
Yeah, that's where my wife does her stuff. It's like kind of a female themed backdrop. Yeah.
Drums. Oh, look at that TV. You guys giving me crap for mine. That's pretty big.
Yeah, that's my computer monitor.
that's huge.
Yeah, I got
There you go.
And
I like. Nice.
Show them the clock over here. This one, the steampunk one. No. Up and to your right. That's your hair back.
The skull.
To your right. There you go. Keep going that way. Yeah, so that's a pretty cool clock too. That sign that says playground closed. The city of New Orleans, when COVID started, they closed all the playgrounds. They took the swings off the swing sets, and they put up these signs around all the playgrounds. The playground's closed. Sorry, can't come enjoy yourself outside.
That made no sense, really.
Oh God, dude, they took the swings off the swing set, and like that little orange netting that they put around construction sites. They
wrapped up the poles.
Yeah, well, they put that around like the little jungle gym that they have next to the swing set that has like the slides coming off of it and the stairs that go up. Yeah, they netted that up, and so I don't know. I just went out there one night and like cut it all down, and I kept a sign. It's just dumb. It was dumb. It was so dumb. So dumb.
It's a lot of dumb stuff in New Orleans.
This is a really dumb place. This is like it's pretty low.
I always have a good time when I'm there, though. I gotta admit.
Of course you do. Dumb people are fun. Yeah, and she makes a good point. It's for visiting. It's not for living. The closest metaphor that really hits home is you remember the apartment you had in college or when you were 20. Wasn't that really fun? Wasn't that awesome? Do you want to live there now, though?
No.
Right,
there you go. That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, when I go there, it's like I come in, I stay downtown, I go to the fairgrounds, I go to some nice place for dinner, and then go back to the fairgrounds again, go for another dinner, and then about day 3, I'm ready to hit home. It's like it's good for like 2-3 nights, and then almost kind of like Vegas.
Exactly like Vegas. You are so right. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go for a while, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, take me out of here. But I'm always shocked at how nice the climate is. It is a little bit humid, but it feels like it would have a cold time of year, but it really doesn't, does it?
The winters are fantastic, but the winters are like what's going on in Dallas.
Nah,
Most-
they
most
seem
of the winter.
warmer when I go there.
Maybe a
Like you don't
tad.
really have a cold 32 or below freezing spell.
Hey, look, Pugs is a chat guy now. See him over there? He's been demoted. Oh, he's just in the chat room.
So do we need to tell us, do we need to get out and link back in? How do you do this? Can you resend yourself a link?
Yeah, we'll just take over the show. You're out, Pugs. It's Pugs and Company, but it's really just
This
and
is
company.
not working. Okay, so we need to
Yeah, we know.
we need to exit out and all right. So you hang with the group
Wait,
on
what?
this one.
We could just end the show.
Well, yeah, I mean we can, and then I'll just come back in with him. All right, so I'm gonna hit leave.
Okay, I'll hit it too.